Angela Fazio is an industry powerhouse who has overseen 40,000 homes sold and $9 billion in production. And Kristen Cantrell is one of the nation's most accomplished team leaders, helping thousands of agents build their businesses. They are passionate about educating, encouraging, and empowering moms in real estate. Our next episode starts now.
Hey ladies, welcome to Moms in Real Estate. I'm Kristen Cantrell.
I'm Angela Fazio, and this week's guest is from out of state and flew in to come here in person, Jennifer Gilson. I'm so thrilled that you're here in person.
Yeah, and you guys, we were just talking to Jennifer, and she was talking about the most expensive listing that she's ever sold was over $16 million. So I can't wait to dive into her business. She's the #1 producing team at Golden Gate Sothebys International Realty on the Peninsula. So you guys, let's dive in. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Jennifer.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Definitely overcame a fear today by flying out here. But thank you.
Bravo. That's
yes.
Let's stop on that because most people just don't do it, and you did it. You showed up here, and
we didn't even ask you. You were like, I'm flying out there. I was like, that girl's badass. I like her.
Thank you. It took a lot. So thank you so much for having me. Okay, so I have been selling residential real estate since 2010. Was in commercial real estate for about a year before that. I have 3 little children, a 3.5-year-old, 2.5-year-old, and a 1-year-old. That
is so crazy. Let's also stop.
I need a nap. I need a nap.
I know.
Yes. So that was a journey in itself. Have a wonderful supporting husband too. We live in Hillsborough, California, so right on the peninsula. And so full-time real estate career. We are building our home now too. And so we got a lot going on.
You sure do.
Such a busy life. So how do you manage it all? Let's just talk about like your day-to-day, because when you have
3
little kids.
2, 3, what are the ages?
3.5 girl, 3.5-year-old girl, 2.5-year-old boy,
jeez,
and a 1-year-old
oh my
girl.
gosh.
So she's like, I mean, I can't, some people can't even like imagine like getting dressed for the day, and she has the #1 producing team in her office. So
it's so good.
So we got to know, like, what does your day look like?
Okay, so it's been a journey in itself. Like I've so with my now like having 3 children, I didn't ever know like what mom guilt felt like until like then you have these kids, right? And so I do my best to really be present in their lives, like take them to school, pick them up if we can. I do have a nanny from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday. I do like try to come in and out of the home to be able to see them. So it's not just that I'm like out of the house like all day long. Of course, like I have my days where I'm completely slammed back to back and I don't get to see them like during those hours, but I do really try to like see them during the day if I can. But then, you know, and I do fully support like completely my nanny. I trust her with everything.
That's so good.
Like,
so
and
important.
I'm a control freak. And so I worry, but with Candy, like I do not, like, I don't have my
Wait a minute.
fears.
You have a nanny named Candy?
I do.
Perfect.
You're making that shit up.
I do. I really do. Yes. And so, and also having like a really supportive husband. So we're very much like on the same page and very much in line. If I didn't have him and I didn't have Candy, like
Impossible.
It would be really hard.
Is your husband in business with you?
He now is. He formerly was a police officer.
Okay.
And now he is retired out of the police department. He was helping me with the real estate, my real estate career, but now he is like full on in the development world with building our home. So I don't have his help as much, but he's always in the background, always, even though he's not fully helping me during the like day-to-day activities, he's fully supportive of everything.
That's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
So do you have like because you have a team, so is that help you a ton as far as you being able to pick up your kids and or drop off your kids and pick them up and have a nanny from those hours? Like, do you work weekends? Do you work nights? Does your team usually handle that?
So I do. I work 24/7 basically. When my nanny leaves at 4:00, I really try to be present from like 4 to like 7:30, 8 o'clock with my kids. Of course, there's like, okay, Danny, my husband, Danny has the kids in the bath. Danny, I'm going to go take a call. So it's not as like perfect as
Totally.
So I really like, I try to set my boundaries with my clients. So like try to take calls like after 8:30 at night, and check emails like after 8:30. So from like 4 to like 7:38, yes, I'm like looking at my phone a lot, trying to be a little bit more like not looking at it as much.
Right.
But I do, of course, like try after like 8:30 to then return phone calls, return emails, return all the text messages, because it's crazy. It's really crazy, and everybody like wants a response
now.
like right now.
Yep.
But that's gotten a little bit better because I think I've been better about setting those boundaries.
Yeah.
And I will respond within a timely manner. And if I can't, I'll text them right back and say, hey, I will call you back like right at 8:30, and it's all good. So
Yeah, I think sometimes we put that pressure on ourselves where like when I send a text to somebody, I'm not like they better respond right away. But yet we feel like the minute we get a text like, oh my gosh, if I don't get to that right away, like someone's going to be mad.
Well, I read in what you were writing in preparation for today, and you brought up a point that I think we all feel the pressure of. It's not just answering the call, returning the text. It's checking your Instagram, looking at your WhatsApp, looking at this, looking at that. There's like 16 different things now where people can bombard you with communication. And it's gotten to the point where I miss stuff. And I'm really good at getting people, getting back to people. I miss stuff. I'll miss a text because you can't like file it. I'll miss that because I didn't see the little ding. It's crazy.
it is. And it's like, it kind of gives you anxiety too.
Yeah.
So I do, like with my team, like I do try to have everybody really own their role. And if I have to do part of their job, like this is like after like years of like working with people, if I have to do somebody's job, then I'm going to let them know. If I have to do your job, then you need to find a different role.
Whoa, I need to say that to a couple people.
Yeah.
You really do.
I really do.
I
Because
know.
it's time that takes you away then from your family or from your workout or from your like meditation or whatever that like your personal time, and you have to really protect that.
You really have to protect those things because otherwise you just go crazy because you're just running around nonstop.
Completely.
So then tell us about let's go into your team and how did you decide you wanted to start a team and kind of have you developed like a really good culture? Tell us about that.
Yes. So let's see, about 8 or so years ago. So I started with Alon Pennell, and then they are now Compass, but I started with Alon Pennell, and they weren't in full support of teams at that time. And then I moved on from Alon Pennell, went to Keller Williams for about a year, had some good learning experiences there, started to form a team. They had good tools for like creating a team, and that MRA book is like the best book that I always bounce back to, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent by Gary Keller. It spells everything out. Like there's all you need is that one book.
Yeah.
To just have to follow it, and that is success right there. So then, and then I went to Sothebys. And I've been now with Sothebys for, probably like 5 years.
Okay.
And they're in support of the team or individual agents. So really like I have 2 agents on the team, a virtual admin, a social media partner, and transaction coordinator.
Okay.
So I've made a few edits over the last year with my team. Before I had an agent that was with me on every single transaction. I'm not doing that anymore. It's myself, my admin, and once in a while I'll bring a team member in it. But I'm finding kind of it's always a growing period. Like there's no perfect.
Always.
No,
Yeah.
definitely
So
not.
I'm just like kind of always figuring out like what is the best, like what I need.
Yes.
And I think that having like your admin or your operations that can assist you with like email management and potentially going and like meeting the vendors, etc., that to me feels like really right. You just have to have a really good right hand to support you on that. So I'm in the midst of figuring that out.
I think that when people make a mistake of thinking there is this one right answer, but the truth is God has wired us all differently. Therefore, what we need is different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I suck at details. I need people around me that are great at details, So when people say, because I love business strategy and I love helping people to achieve their goals. When people say, well, how do you build a team? I'm like, well, who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are
so
you?
true.
If you don't even know who you are and what you perceive that you need and your strengths, you can't start from a formula.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It's always changing. And I think that working with a lot of people over the last like 10 years or so, like I'm getting more in tune with what like I really need.
Yeah.
And so
we even always start with people like, where's your value? Like, what is your value proposition? And don't try to say, oh, I'm really good at like nurturing new agents and helping them write a contract. What if you're like, that sounds horrible, like it does to us, right?
Yeah.
Well, then that's okay. But who's doing that for you, right? So it's, what's your value? And then all the things that you're not good at, how are you leveraging other people for that?
Yep.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and that's a challenge sometimes. And those are also tough conversations. Before, I would have anxiety about having to talk to a team member about like a tough conversation that was needed.
Yeah.
Now I'm super direct to the point, and this is what,
It's easier.
Yeah, it's much easier.
Direct. I learned a long time ago, direct communication is the easiest.
It is.
It feels hard in the moment,
Yeah.
but it's easiest in the long run.
Yeah, and I think everyone's happier because there's nothing worse than when there's like an elephant in the room or someone's upset with you and you're like, what's going on? Like, I'd rather somebody just come to me and be like, hey, Kristen, like, this is what we need to talk about.
Completely.
Absolutely.
But not everybody is receptive to that too.
No.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's another challenge, but it's like, well, better now than later because they're going to figure it out regardless.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
true.
if anyone's been listening to this podcast from the beginning, you're like, wait a minute, get back to the fact that she sold a $16 million home. But let's talk about that.
There's so many things we can talk about that one.
I know I'm itching to talk about it.
First of all, I want to see it. Second of all, I want to know, like, how was your client?
Wait. So I have coached and mentored thousands of agents over the last long time. And if somebody says, my production, what's your production, girl? Oh, it's 17 million. That's pretty good. You're getting there. 20 million. That's awesome. You sold one house that was $16 million.
I know.
How many houses do you sell a year?
Let's see. So about 35, 40,
Jeez.
getting on the trajectory of like 40, 45.
Good for you.
So what is your production then at that many? Just because here, like you're saying, that's crazy.
Like if somebody does 17, 20 million, that's a producer, but our house prices are
Yeah. So on the Peninsula, Silicon Valley, our average price, like the average price home that I sell now is about probably like 3.5 million this year, 3.5, 4 million. Two of the highest sales that have sold in Hillsborough, I just sold those this year. That's a 15,470,000 and a 15 million.
awesome.
So we'll probably be at a volume at the end of December. We'll probably be at about 160 is my guess.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Maybe 160, 170. But, like my goal was to hit 200 this year. And I usually have that number in mind to hit. And why not? And why not more? Because we can. It's just doing like the right activities and being really mindful of where your time is going. So I don't care if your goal is 10 million or 200 million. It's just like line up that plan. How are you going to hit it? And if you don't if I look back on like this year and I'm not going to hit 200, what could I have done differently to have achieved that? And I do get hung up on the goal sometimes and that's okay too.
So let me ask you this. If your goal was 200 and you came in at 160 and you're saying you got to say like, what could I do differently? What could you have done differently?
So I have 3 younger brothers. 2 of them are in building. One of them is starting his own company, and he's very smart in the business, building a business mode. And we were going over all of this recently. And in looking at where, like, what I'm not doing is I don't do a lot of mailers. I just recently did mailers over the last couple months. I did a magazine. Like, I don't do farming of any kind. I did instill a couple things over the last few months that didn't work well, but I think that mailers are a really good thing.
In your market it is.
Yeah.
Because everybody looks at that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but in a lot of agents do. So what do you want to do to set yourself apart from that? So I customized like my own magazine. It's called Peninsula Living. I sent one of those out, had an awesome response. I sent it out to like 8,000 addresses and
What's the content?
You actually created your own magazine.
I did.
So
Yeah,
That's cool.
I did. It took, it was not like a quick turnaround by any means. It was about like 4 months that it took me. But now that I have the template in place, the foundation, I'm going to be good to go.
I love that.
What's the content? Like what? Obviously there's homes in it. But.
Yeah. So first page, first cover is myself, Peninsula Living, my logo. Inside is a note to everybody. And then I support a local business. So there's one piece in there about a local business. Do a few vendors like a lender, insurance agent, and they help support the magazine as well. So it kind of covered the cost there. And then I put events in the community, things that I've sold that I have coming up, value like stats to the people that are living in the communities that I mailed to.
So I have just right up the road, there's a neighborhood called Agritopia, and they have Agritopia Living in there. And one of the moms at the school we go to in there, she goes and she collects stories from the homeowners. So it could be, so-and-so got adopted a dog or whatever, but they put a family story every time. And it's the cutest thing ever. I'm like, her job's so fun.
You know what else you could do that would probably get you business as well? Is run some kind of a competition or a contest about interior design and let the people in your community submit like their best kitchen or their
cool.
best.
I love that.
And I bet they have the coolest kitchen.
Then you meet all the homeowners and then
I love that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I love that idea. That's great.
So if I wanted to start a magazine, where do I even start?
If you call me, email me, I'll send you my template, my link.
But like, okay, all right.
Yeah. So I started I have a very small group of women on Facebook that of agents from all over, and we're growing it now. But there's like 15 women on there, and this one agent, we meet biweekly, and this one agent, she had been doing this magazine. And I was like, God, that is amazing.
I love
and so
that.
I basically just copied her.
Good.
And she was totally cool with it, of course.
Yeah.
And because we all share and there's enough to go around for everyone.
Yeah.
And I just stylized it to how I wanted it to look. And it looks great. So I worked with a graphic designer, 2 graphic designers, basically.
Well, you know why that's such a genius idea is because what you're doing is you're giving people just a moment of fame. That's why the competition or things like that make people feel so special and sets you apart because they're going to go out of their way to submit something or tell you a story or whatever it is, which builds relationships. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's a genius idea.
I love
far
it.
better than any other mailer you could do.
I really, truly, out of anything that I've done, like that was a really positive response for me.
That's awesome.
And then it also allows you to be creative. And a lot of us, I love that creative outlet where you are coming up with concepts like that. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the $16 million house. How did you land that client and what did the process look like?
Here it is. Okay. So that was from an agent in a nearby area in San Francisco that had referred that listing to me. We were up against 4 other local agents in the community, and it was a phone call. I had the interview over the phone with him on the line, and it was with 2 very strong male sellers. So one was the actual owner of the property and his right hand who made all the decisions, and the right hand was a very strong, super strong male personality, and I clicked with him immediately. And I knew, so I have a background in development and building, and I felt like that knowledge and that kind of confidence, I like honed in on that right away, and he knew that, and he
respected it.
He respected it. So by the time that I knew, I was like, this is going to be the only opportunity that I have with this guy on this call. By the time we get off this call, I want him to say he's going to go with us. And he did.
Awesome.
Yeah. And at that time, I was not a top producer in Hillsborough. That was, so I didn't have all these sales to back my Hillsborough, success.
Yeah.
I really didn't, but you fake it till you make it. And, and I believed it, and I believed in myself, and I was able to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love how you come off with such confidence, and I know that's God-given, and it's from experience and putting yourself out there and taking chances.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I feel like, so I can be confident in certain areas, but when it comes to like strong male personalities, I just don't even want to deal with it.
I live with one. I with one. He's awesome.
But I feel like that scenario I would hate to be in. It would be like my biggest nightmare.
That wouldn't bother me.
You know, but you have to like edit your personality to the crowd, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
if you know that you're like going into, and I actually have something that happened yesterday, but if you're going into like a family and they need like sympathy and they need like a hug or whatever's going on with the sale, but then you go into like working with developers, two totally different dynamics.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and dabbling in commercial probably helped you too, because they are not warm and fuzzy at all.
No, not
It's
at
like
all.
it's like a funny accountant. What?
Yeah. No.
Actually, Barb.
I know. Barb is
I know,
hilarious.
she's like
Barb, you're an exception if you're
Yeah.
listening.
Our friend Barb is a tax strategist, and
she is
She
delightful.
makes tax strategy like so cool and fun. And I'm like, how did you do that?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's like my bookkeeper. She's an anomaly, Michelle. She's like a bookkeeper, and she's hilarious. I'm like,
She
that
is
does
funny.
not fit.
No, it does not. I would not want anything to do with that. Yeah, no. But yeah, so you have to be able to switch it and figure out like what that kind of crowd wants, and also though you don't have to be selling real estate forever to like get a super high end listing or a super high end buyer.
No,
you just have to.
One of my
it.
girls is brand new, and she got a $4 million listing this year, which is a lot here.
It's a lot here.
Yeah, and without ever selling anything.
It's amazing.
It's how you relate, because people want to trust you.
Yeah.
You're selling their house for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You've got to be someone they can trust at some level and respect at another.
Right.
And so that doesn't have to mean necessarily, doesn't have to mean experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So for 2023, tell us like what is next for you? What are your big goals?
So, well, I had two really big goals happen this year. I sold the Western White House, which is an amazing opportunity legacy listing that we had for about a year. Sold that, and then sold 950 Macadamia, which was a really cool new modern construction. And so I think like leveraging off of my value and really like providing that value to the real estate world. And letting my like continuing to like build my database, build the unmets, build the Mets, build, you know, my sphere of influence, all of those people, like really just deep dive into those relationships.
Yeah. So when you say leverage, like kind of dive deeper into what you mean with that.
Yeah. Okay. So figuring out the final pieces with my team. I have noticed that like the busier, like for this year, I just felt the email management was just out of control. Like
my gosh.
keeping up with the emails, with the text messages is like a whole job in itself for me. And so I need somebody to help me do that.
So you're
It is a
actively
job.
looking for somebody.
Yes.
So is Angela.
You could literally spend half your day going through, at least I can.
could.
Yeah.
I could literally spend half my day trying to get through the messages.
It's a lot.
Insane.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And the busier that we get, it's just going to keep getting out of control. So I really need to find like a really great like executive admin operations
That's really,
person.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm telling
so
you.
hard.
It's so hard.
So if you're out there, please contact us.
Jennifer Gilson.
Yes.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You know what my husband did? He has like literally like 25,000 emails in his inbox.
Oh yeah.
Like literally.
He won't respond to
And
them.
one day he just was sitting in front of me and he deleted, like he had like thousands in there. He just deleted them all. I was like,
Oh my gosh.
he's like, if it was that important, they'll email me back.
Oh my gosh. I know.
And
How
it's
freeing.
the follow up too. Like for a lot of these buyers that we're all meeting at open houses, like I tell my team this. If you've met like 10, 20 good buyers over the last month at these open houses, you can't just email them like once a week or like bi-weekly. They have
Stay
to
top of
be
mind.
like touched every other day.
Yeah.
Or you'll, even if they're not responding, just keep sending them something.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a huge thing, is just keeping up with the database. A good CRM is important. I used to have Contactually, loved that, and then I no longer have that.
What about like you got this referral from another agent? Like how are you going to better your relationships with agents to get more referrals?
So I consistently meet these agents in person, like coming out here to you guys, like meeting you guys face to face, always having, and then I had reached out to you like a month ago with a really great Arizona referral. it's important that we are ahead of the game for our clients and being like a resource for them. So I'm not like, hey, do you know an agent in this area? Like we should already really have that lined up. So really like being ahead of the game in creating new relationships, keeping them in the database, having the Zooms with them, meeting them in person. That's a really important piece to what I do on a daily basis.
You know, she did send me a package, you guys, and it was in October, and I opened it and it smelled like October. It was awesome. I was like,
what does October smell like?
Like just cinnamon and fall. And I was like, what just happened in this room?
Yes.
It was awesome.
I'm on to a new one too. So I'm doing ornament kits and they're DIY ornament kits that, and there's like one of my favorite gifts that I'm doing. So I'm doing gifts to everybody right now for the holiday. So I
love that.
Speed it up. But yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's worth it. Yeah. It's worth it because it makes yourself, just like the magazine, makes you stand out.
Yeah. So I have my mom who helps me with like all of the gifts. And we're, those get mailed out, those get delivered. So that's like a whole nother role in itself. But I am, so in that MRA book, the 8x8 system is what I am a stickler for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So 8x8, like to a
so that when you call, they're like, "Hey, Jennifer," because they know your voice, and they,
everybody's always getting a pop by or a consistent touch.
Well, it's really obvious why you're so successful. It's really obvious. It's remarkable. I really applaud it.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna end it with finishing the sentence.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
We're gonna start a sentence, and you have to finish it.
Oh, I love this. Okay.
Look at you. You're embracing it. Everyone else is like, "Oh man, you're finding me out."
They really do.
Okay. Being successful means
feeling great about what you've done for your during the day. Feeling proud of what you've done on a personal basis, work basis, etc.
Cool.
Am I doing one?
Yes, you're doing one.
All right. I'm going to find an executive personal assistant by...
No. It's going to be a work in progress. Is that a good sentence?
You can answer it however you want.
There's
work
no
in progress.
You're not getting graded.
There's no perfect. That's it. It's work in progress.
You know what you should do? You should literally tell everyone that you meet that you're looking for this person. Everyone you meet, all your clients, all your real estate agents, the people that you know, because somebody knows somebody who's perfect for that position.
And there's probably real estate agents who are slower right now where they might have that perfect person who can help you. They don't need to be in California.
Yeah, that's true. But what I've learned with having team members, I feel like there has to be that grace period. Like, even though they might be perfect, like on paper, like, are they going to be perfect for me? So I think it's important to have that trial period.
Absolutely.
That is so true.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a fantastic guest. I'm super impressed that you came out to us.
Good.
That means a lot to us because we love this show and we love our guests. So to be able to see you face to face is really fantastic. What a treat.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Excited
and I'm sure she's going to be at Flourish in May. So
you better believe it.
Okay.
So Flourish is May 4th and 5th. Go to theflourishevent.com. You can get your tickets right now. All the details will probably be up within the next, who knows, probably month.
Yeah. Much.
It looks like so much fun.
It really is.
Oh gosh, it's the best.
And this next one will be off the charts.
Yeah.
Good. Excited.
Especially since you're going to be there.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. Thank you guys for listening. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.